Right, let's take a look at this mascot. Seems like quite a simple thing to start off with, making a mascot. But there are a few things that we need to think about before we start. First one is, what's it actually for? And if you read this, it says that the mascot is to promote reading as fun for the target audience. Now, we know the target audience are 5 and 6 year old, so it's going to have to be something that appeals to that age group. And we need to relate it to reading somehow, because it's meant to promote reading as being fun. So that's the first thing we need to think about. Second thing, it says it must be an original drawing created using vector tools. So you're not allowed to just take an image from the internet and use that. You have to make this thing yourself. And vector tools are specific tools that you're going to have to use in Photoshop to make it. Now, I'll not go into detail in this video about what a vector tool is, but I will show you where to find them and how to use them. So I'm going to go into Photoshop. You can see I've had a go at making a mascot here. It's not finished, it's not brilliant, it's the best I can do in the 5 minutes I've had. But I've started trying to make something which I think would appeal to kids, and it's related to reading because it's holding a book. And I'd probably maybe brighten it up with a yellow star on the book or something like that. There's various different things that I could do to improve this. But to make this, what I did was I started off with a blank image. I made the background colour white, and I just picked a size that was reasonably large. And that gave me a blank canvas like this one. What I then did, for each part of the rabbit's body, I made a new layer. So over here where you've got your layer palette, I clicked on new layer like that to give me a new layer. Now, the reason that I did that was, if I make a mistake, let's just say I try to draw something. I'll just do something random here. Let's say I draw a rectangle here, and that's meant to look like a rabbit's body. Obviously, it doesn't. If that was on the background, it would be quite difficult to delete. I could do it, but it'd just be annoying. If I've done it on its own layer, all I do is hit this little delete button, and it gets rid of that bit there. If the shape's left like that one is, just do the delete again like that. So make a new layer, and then your vector tools are these tools here. So where you've got a little rectangle, you can choose from all of these different tools. So you've got rectangle, rounded rectangle. They actually come up at the top here, so you can just choose them quickly from there. You've got a circle or an oval. You can get hexagons, lines, and then these little shapes here, you can actually change and choose from some of these shapes that are in this box. So there's lots of different things to choose from. Not quite as easy as being able to completely draw your own, but that's the point of vector tools. Vector tools are tools that resize easily, and that's what you would actually use in real life if you were doing this task. So to make my rabbit, I chose just a circle. I picked the grey colour, and I drew a circle for the body like that. I then made a new layer like that, did a circle for the head, and then so on. So I did like little ones for the legs, the arms. I did ears with just the oval tool. It was all pretty much with the oval tool. I did the eyes with that. I just changed the colour to white, and then little black circles inside. And then to do the lips and the nose and the whiskers, I just chose a line tool, and I chose a black colour. So that's how I came up with the rabbit. The book was just 2 rectangles. And what you can actually do is you can rotate things around. So if I drew a rectangle here, I'll just do a blue one like in mine when I made the book. So you can maybe do, let's change the colour of the head, but never mind. That's because I didn't use a new layer like I told you to. But if I did a rectangle here and I wanted to rotate this layer, I can go to Edit, Free Transform, and then I can turn it around like that. So that's how I made the book slanty, like that. And once you're happy with it, you just hit the little tick box. I think you can actually change the perspective. I haven't experimented with this on mine, but you can do that, and you make it wider. So if that worked better for your book and made it look more like a book, you could do that. And then I made another rectangle, which I did the same, and I put at the other side. So I would do a little bit more experimentation to get my book looking more like a book. Because if you look at my original here, it's not quite the right shape yet. But that would just be a little bit of extra work to get that the way I want it, fiddling around with a perspective and things like that. So that's how you're going to make your mascot. When you're finished with it, you can save it as a Photoshop file like this into your D103 folder, and just give it a name, mascot or whatever. You can also then save it again as an image that's not all the separate layers. So I could go to save as, and this time rabbit mascot, and I could save it as a JPEG, which means it'll be a smaller file size and I can insert it onto other things. I can't insert an Adobe Photoshop image onto something like a PowerPoint presentation or a Word document, but I can insert a JPEG, okay? So you want to save it as a JPEG, but you also want to first of all save it as a Photoshop file, so that if you need to go back and change anything or edit anything later, you've still got all of the different layers that you've worked on. So I hope that makes sense. It's obviously a much longer video than the previous ones, but it'll give you some ideas about how to make your own mascot.